Okay, we're going to try to show you how to step through this Project 110. It is a little bit tedious and has some components to it that may be confusing. Right now, you will see on my screen, I am in the distance learning activity 1.2.3. And this is the step one that has all 12 multi-views available to you. You can scroll through these multi-views by clicking on the different buttons, and it'll show you different top, front, right side views. And so you get to pick one of these 12 views that you want to model. Now I'm choosing view multi-view 5 because I sort of felt like most people would not pick that one because of the rounded shapes. So if you pick 5, I would suggest you make sure that you have picked it before I did. Um, because I want you to create something on your own. So I'm going to kind of show you multi-view 5, and you'll notice the front view looks like two tall pieces and a shorter piece, and then a rectangle piece on top. So you sort of can start with your front view and sort of get an idea of how to build it. You'll notice the big piece on top sort of sits on the back edge of it. See this rectangle here? And then you notice the little part in the middle here apparently is the curved one that has the half round shape to it. So that sort of gives you an indication by looking at all three views. You can sort of figure out how to build this using the construction blocks. Now, I'll admit these construction blocks are a little difficult to master, so let me show you basically how you do this. You'll just have to practice with it. So you're going to click on this IED construction blocks file. You do want to make sure probably that you're signed into OnShape before you do this. It just makes everything a little faster if you've already signed in earlier to OnShape. Now, all of these little blocks here are available for you to build with. And in looking at my multi-view that I had earlier, I'm thinking these two green ones are probably the ones on the outside. The little orange one here is the one in the middle, and then this little green one is probably the one that goes on top. So that's going to be my 4 blocks I'm actually going to use. And one of the best ways to do this is to pull this block out, drag it out, the one you're going to use first. And you might even want to draw the little orange one out first, or maybe separate all the ones out you think you're going to be using. And then sort of you can actually turn off all the others over here. If you come over here and click on this little button here, this I button, it actually will hide those if you're not going to be using them right now. So that might help clear up your screen a little bit. Just watch the yellow highlight as it goes around it, making sure you're not turning off something you're actually going to use. So, and each one of them has a name like tall rectangle, large rectangle, and you want to just make sure these kind of disappear. So I guess this is a small triangle. So now we have just these 4 blocks that we're actually going to build, and I want to start with the curve shape in the middle. So if you click on it here, it's going to show you all of these little buttons here to pull and to twist around. We know this one needs to be turned another way. If you click on the little rounded edge, it actually swings it around like this. And if you keep everything 0 and 90 degrees as you're turning these, everything should turn out pretty good. So these little arrows here will move it sideways. The little circles will rotate it. And so you can kind of experiment with this little grid system that shows up when you click on an item. So I'm going to start with the orange shape here, and then I want to actually move one of these others up against it, one of these 2 tall ones against it here. And if you try to move it like this, you can get pretty close, but it may not be exact. And see, this one don't seem to want to fit over here, right? Because you're looking at something in 3D, so it's really hard to see looking at it in the isometric. So what I found out is if you come up to the view cube and you click on front, go ahead and get everything in the front lined up first. So now that you're in the front view, you can sort of drag everything to about where it needs to be in the front view, right? That's sort of what I was looking at here in my multi-view. 2 tall ones and this short orange one in the middle. So that's what I'm just trying to build the front view right now. Now, once you get the front view looking right, what you want to do is you want to click on this arrow and turn it. Click, 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 turn it. And you notice what's actually happening here on the right side view is the green ones don't actually line up with the orange one because, again, we were in 3D. So you sort of have to drag the green one back now, and then you want to turn it on around until you can get to the left side here. And again, it doesn't matter how many clicks it takes you to get there. You can just, it'll sort of help you see that everything in slow motion here. And you kind of pull this one back on the left side and line it up. And then you want to go back and check your front view. Want to go the other way. You want to go back and check your front view to make sure everything still looks right on the front. So that's kind of the trick here, is don't try to do this in isometric. Make sure you go to one of the front, top, or side views to do this. So I'm going to actually now try to set this one on top, and I'm going to go back to the isometric just to see if I can kind of get it about where it needs to be. Now notice it's turned wrong. So what I need to do is I need to click on it, and I need to roll this thing over, right? I need to roll it over this way, and I want to roll it to a full 90 degrees to make sure it stays with the others. And then I want to roll it the other way too. I got to roll it back like this, right? 90 degrees this way. Again, if you keep it on 90, everything's going to come out pretty close to what you need. And then I want this one to come over here and sit down on top of here. Now again, to make sure I have it exactly the way I want it, I want to go back to my front view, and you can just click on the front panel. And so you let's go get the front view lined up. Again, you can't really tell what's going on here if you just try to do it in isometric. And so now let's turn back to our right side here. Whoop, that's going left. These arrows are sort of backwards of intuitiveness here. And you will notice that if you go back and look at the view here, it says the top one needs to be standing upright, but it needs to be on the back edge toward the orange piece that's sticking out, right? This the top view defines that it needs to be near the back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on it. I'm going to drag this arrow over to this point. And so this sort of gets my side view set now. And we can go back again and we can check the front view to make sure everything looks right on the front. And then if you wanted just to make sure that the top view looks like this top view here with rectangle, rectangle, and a part sticking out of the back, you can actually go and look at your top view here. Okay, so, whoops, went too far. Okay, so like this. Now you notice my top view here, rectangle, square, 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 rectangle, rectangle, looks exactly like this picture here. The dashed lines mean those are hidden edges. And if you look at your right side view, you can verify your right side view here. Let's go back to our right side view. So I'm going to go, whoop, I'm turning it upside down. Don't want to do that. So I'm going to come back to the front view, and then I'm going to go to the right view. And there we go. You notice I have this rectangle, big rectangle, and little sliver sticking out of the back. And if you look here, that's exactly what I have on here. So hopefully this sort of helps you guys in building the actual construction blocks model to make it look like the multi-view. And then once you have this, it's a matter of going in and creating a new OnShape document to actually look like this. So you would go in and you would just start modeling the half circle, the rectangles, and then you extrude them and end up with a model that looks like this. So good luck. Try this over the weekend, and if you're still having issues, we'll get together first of next week and see if we can work on this together.